All right, what's good? What's good? What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. What a beautiful day we've had up here in the northern part of Alabama. Today, this is a locker room sports talk extra. Every Tuesday, Thursday night, I'm going to come on about 6 o'clock, and we're going to just talk about, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes or so. We're going to talk about just one or two of the games coming up for the weekend, and then Thursday night, I'll do like a high school preview type thing, and we'll get on here and talk about some of the games here in the area for his high school and that type of stuff, and some of the players, and go through our player of the week and that we had last week and all that kind of stuff. So let's jump right in here and let's just get started and see how this goes. And thank you guys for coming by and hanging out with me for just a little while. And hit the subscribe button if you hadn't already. And you've been watching this for a while. I suspect that you kind of know what we do and how we cover sports, and we're on every Sunday night at 6 o'clock. During the season, we'll be on Tuesday for college. Tuesday's gone with a win, man. And then Thursday night, we're going to come on here and talk about high school games around the state. And we do have some pretty good matchups coming this weekend, and try to tell you where I'm going to try to be at this Friday night. Now, I do say Thursday already. I'll tell you, I know this is college, but high school, Fife is going to be at Pisgah Thursday night. So I'll come on before the game on your way down there, something you could watch, and we'll shoot the breeze. Could talk about that game, what kind of matchup it was last year. I was at the game. They played in playoffs, and whew, what a game it was. So tonight, Miami Hurricanes. This is a big game for both coaches, really. I mean, honestly, let's just be real honest. Coach Napier has definitely been under the nail, and people has kind of give him a little bit of a pass because of the schedule and kind of where they're at. And man, they're going to play like 5 or 6 ranked teams. And some of these teams are, most of them is probably going to be ranked in the top 15. So what's up, Brock? Yeah, we're going to talk about that game. And I got some stats for TJ, and he's played against Bama a couple times, and we were definitely talking about that. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. But this is a big game for both Coach Cristobal and Billy the Kid. I call him that a lot. You know, we don't know these guys personally, and you always want to give coaches benefit of a doubt. And these guys are making differences in the lives of young men. And it is important that we try not to, send the guy down the road and, make him feel like whatever because he's not won a lot. And Florida's kind of been in a bad spot, I guess, probably for a little while. They have. They've been in a bad situation, but and this schedule this year, man, for Florida, we did a spot on them back during the summer. And I'm just, I'm really looking forward to seeing them play. And we're going to talk about a few guys that they got on the team. Is it do or die time? I guess for them. Are they going to fire him? Because there's been a lot of people talking about it this summer that, he's on the hot seat. He's on the hot seat. And I don't know if – I guess it could be. I'm trying to send this over here to this other platform. And there we go. So what I'm trying to say here, let me get wrote up on. When is it doing that? Yeah, I'm on live here. And okay, sounds good. So Coach Cristobal, of course, everybody knows that he was part of the tree there at Alabama for a little while. He played at Miami. He's been there for a couple of years now. And with the guys that he's got coming back this year as far as Miami, I seen an interview that he did with Kiko, Kiko. He is a linebacker, number 51. Mananga is his last name. His name is Francisco Manega. Good-looking kid. You can tell he's a football player. He's very excited about the year coming up in the interview that I watched, and their defensive coach really bragged on him a lot and talked about what a tough guy he is and what a great leader that Manega is, Kiko. And he's a really fiery guy. He really shows up to practice, and he holds all the other guys accountable. Also, defensive end Reuben Vane Jr. is going to be somebody that's going to be deliver some pain for the Hurricanes as they show up down at the Swamp. Now, everybody knows that Cam Ward is the QB right now, and he's a fifth-year senior. Okay, he's a guy that's thrown the ball a lot. He threw the ball for about 3,700 yards last year, and everybody's excited to see him play. He threw 25 touchdowns and with only 7 interceptions. Talking about Cam Ward at Miami. He's a fifth-year guy. Okay, so Cam has played a lot of football, and I'm just mentioning some players. And, like we do on Sundays, we're going to talk about some of the players and kind of leave the case, up to you guys. Decide who do you think? Who do you like to win this game? And I'll give who I think is probably favored in the game as we go through this. They do have 5. Listen to this now, 5. Miami's got 5 fifth-year seniors coming back on this team. And it said they had 6 six-year guys. Some of the fifth-year guys, Porter Jr., Akeem, left tackle Rivers, and Restropro, Restropro. Restropro is a wide receiver that's come back, and I even mentioned him again over here. He's probably going to be one of the top wide receivers for Miami. He's going to be a target for Cam Ward to be able to throw the ball to. Man, the thing I like about this, if you got 5 fifth-year seniors, and they said they had 6. Now, that's what I read straight off of the Miami Sun's Times, out of their articles and their sports writers down there from Miami. Guys, that's 11 players that has, snaps. How many snaps do they play a game? Say if they play, just do an easy number like 6, and they play, that'd be 600 snaps, 660, even like 700 snaps for a season of football. If they play all year and they run 60 plays a game for, if they play 12 games and bowl game, whatever. And you got 6 guys that's even had another year on top of that. Gosh, man, Miami is that's could be very devastating for their opponents for sure. Akeem Mesidor is a guy that we talked about. He's one of the big fifth-year seniors they're really attracted to this year. Now, the 6-year guy, you got defensive lineman Campbell, and then Mesidor, he is back. He had an injury last year. I think he played like 3 games last year. So you're going to get this guy that's coming back hungry. He's coming back off injury. It'll be really important for him to come out and get fired up and start the season out right at Florida. Okay, so that's some of the things for Miami. Again, this game is ABC's covering these games on this opening weekend. Most of them. Bama's going to be on ESPN, but 2:30 on ABC. It's a game everybody's going to be watching because I think that's probably one of the lesser of the SEC teams playing one of some people like Miami maybe to win the ACC this year. Mananga, 82 tackles last year, and you're bringing that kind of guy, back to play football. So they have a lot of guys here. Now, Florida Gators, SEC football, we got to talk about them. They got a lot of guys that are just ball hawks and ball attackers and guys that they're really going to get after it this year. This Florida team may not be as bad as people think. Now they do bring their quarterback back, Mertz. He was a 73% guy last year. He threw for 3,000 yards, had 20 touchdowns, threw some interceptions. But he got better as the year went on. And I think Graham is, I like him. I think he's a good quarterback. And he's the kind of guy that you can start your team around. You can build a team around this guy. And I'm going to go through some receivers and a running back they got back and some transfers that they have in. And people are using the transfer portal to do, that's, you can't build a team to, probably go and win a championship through the portal. You have to build a team through high school talent. You bring them in as freshmen and you build them up, get them in the weight program, and teach them how you play football there at your college. Now, last year, Boone, he's a big-time defensive guy. He scored out 74 last year. That's good numbers, man. Collins, Sapp, and TJ Surrey, defensive lineman. Dez Watson, big guy, wears number 21. Check this out. He weighed in about 470-some pounds last year. Big, you can't miss him. Big guy right in the middle. Watson. Now, they said he's cut weight, so he's down from a whopping 475. Said he was down to 465 when they weighed him in starting in the spring. So he's down a little weight. And Wengo, he's an edge guy. He's a freshman. They really like him. He's had a good summer workout. He's had good practices this summer. And also wide receivers this summer, enrollee, a wide receiver. The guy come from Arizona State. Now, this just happened here just a month or 6 weeks ago from Arizona State, Badger. Now, this guy, like I said, he caught for over 700 yards last year at Arizona State. And he's about a 6'3", 180-pound type of receiver. That's another guy for Graham to throw to, an early enrollee come in this summer. Offensive tackle guy, the Barber kid, Austin Barber, and then running back, Montrell Johnson. Don't forget that name. Montrell Johnson for Florida. Coach Napier says that as far as in their practice and stuff, Johnson is making a lot of people miss. He's got left to right speed, and he's also got north and south speed, if you know what I'm saying. And he can hit the circle button on you quick and spin and get loose and go with the field. He had over 800 yards rushing last year, and he only had 5 touchdowns, but circle his name, okay? Montrell Johnson, I look for him to have a good season at Florida. He could be a 1,000-yard guy for real. Now, some of the other wide receivers that Graham's going to get to hook up with is as some of the other guys here at Florida, they're going to get to hook up with. Wide receiver core guys, Purcell, Eugene Wilson, and then Dyke. Dyke is a new guy, okay? He come in from Wisconsin. Those are some guys who are going to be able to throw the ball to. Also, tight ends, Boardingham and Hansu. Those in practice now, as of watching Coach Napier, these guys have been catching the ball. They've been throwing them the ball up the field. Now, they're going to block. And they're going to run the ball here behind Johnson. And there's 2 other guys that are not bad behind Johnson either. So they're going to mix the ball up. He's not going to have to tote the rock all day. So those are some guys. They're tight ends, Boardingham and Hansu, that's going to be able to get open, get up the field, be able to make some plays. Big guy that's back to nose tackle. I love nose tackles. I mean, these are big, strong, healthy guys. Listen to this, 6'6", 375 pounds. And then Bridges, a cornerback to keep your eye on for Florida. He's going to be making some plays. He is said to be at practice, good instinctual ball hawk. He has a feel for the game. At practice, he just has an instinctive way of nearly like he knows the next play that's coming. And those are the kind of guys that you can get behind. Those are the kind of guys that you want to come out there and be leaders on the team. But Hassan Turner, another guy coming in from Washington, coming from DeBoer's team after Coach DeBoer took the Alabama job. Now, I watched him play some last year, and I went back and watched him again a little bit. If you can have a 6'3", 190-pound safety, that's a pretty big guy for safety, because he's going to be the guy coming downhill that's going to knock your head off, when you come across those little short route passes and those kind of things. So keep your eye open for Turner. He's a ball player, Asan Turnes from Washington. Linebacker James, he had 101 tackles for over the past 2 years. And he's another guy, when I'm watching stuff about practice, James is one of the vocal leaders on the team. He's going to speak out. He's going to let you know if you're missing a rep. He's going to let you know if he don't think you're working hard enough. And a defensive coach bragged about him a lot. So that's Miami and Florida game. Breakdown and look inside at some of the players and kind of who they got, because we did them back in the summer. But as you can tell, we've had some guys from Wisconsin come in. We've had some guys from Washington come in. So Coach Napier, he's working, guys. And with that schedule, gosh, man, if they win 8 games, we've talked about it on the show, they just need to build a guy statue. I mean, they've got the hardest schedule I've ever – it's like they start out playing Miami, which is going to be a powerful team in the ACC. Not Florida State so much. Georgia Tech's look like they may be a little better. We talked about that game Sunday night as Georgia Tech kicks field goal and takes that game away from overtime and just go ahead and wins the darn game in Ireland to give Florida State their first loss this season. So, I want to pull from my SEC teams. This is going to be a good game. And the points spread on this game, I think it was 2.5. Yeah, it's 2. Miami's favored by 2.5. Guys, we're talking about, 2.5 point spread. So they're thinking, sheesh, I mean, Miami kicks a field goal or something, wins the game. You take these bets, you win some money on these. It's 2.5 point spread. So Miami and Florida, it's going to be a great game. 2:30. It's going to be on ABC. I'm going to pick Miami. I think they're ready. And those seniors that I just mentioned there, 5th and 6th year seniors, I just think it may be – now, those guys at Florida, and we did them back in the summer, and I mentioned some guys, and there's some more guys on the depth chart. And I see some talent on the chart for Florida that they're freshmen. Man, they got a – you go down there, XYZ receivers and their second, third string guys, they got some good talent. A lot of some 4-star guys that come in there and can play, but it just said, I mean, all those names, man, it's freshman, sophomore, like, man, maybe Coach Napier is still, I know you can't keep saying they're a year away, every year. I mean, after a while, you're going to have to do something about it. So I look for Miami to I know it's at Florida, and that's why I'm hesitant to pick, and you see me stammering and stuttering because what up, Nick? Why I'm curious to see how that game turns out. Being at Florida, I want to go with Florida, but I think Miami's just – Cam Ward is good. Graham's a good quarterback too, but if Florida can keep that darn game close and it's there at Florida, and, man, they're excited. And the beginning of the summer, it was just all doom and gloom. Florida's be lucky to win 6. Well, as we've seen some of these players come in, we had SEC media days, and we're getting to see the coaches. They've had practice, and we're hearing about practice. I'm reading the Sun Times out of Miami down there about Florida. It may not be just all dark clouds and showers and, walk around like Pigpen, just feeling nasty and dirty, and you got no hope at all, because they are in the SEC, and Miami's schedule is not real bad. They're going to have to play they got at least 2 games that they're going to have to win, but I'm going to pick but if Florida somehow wins this stinking game, man, you just don't know, man. If Florida at Swamp, you just, what is it, being Griffin Hill Stadium, man, you just don't know. You just might as well flip a coin. It's like Alabama's number 1, Auburn's ranked 20, and you go to Auburn, they go in there and score late in the game and win. Be the number 1 Bama. You just don't know. So I'm going to roll Miami on that. All right, we about 20 minutes in. Okay. We got about 10, 15 more minutes here. Not a whole lot to talk about, but I wanted to talk about Bama and Western Kentucky game. Again, thank you guys for coming by and hanging out. If you hadn't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. And on Facebook, hit the thumbs up. And if you'd like to give or donate, you can hit the stars, and it gives like a star is like 99 cents, and it builds up in our little account. And I think we got, I don't know, $40 or $50 in there right now. You have to make it up to 100 before you can like cash it out and use it for whatever. So we'd appreciate it. Bama, Western Kentucky, 6 o'clock on ESPN. So after a big day, especially if you've had to work that day, you kind of come in about lunchtime, you got your ribs on your plate there, and you got your bread and barbecue sauce and your beans, and you're ready. You got your cold drink. Watch some good football. Seen Miami. Clemson and Georgia's going to play too. We talked about that game Sunday. Benton Birds come on from Northwest Georgia scoreboard, and we broke that game down. And I don't think Clemson has I just don't think they got a chance. I just don't think they're there yet. But Bama and Western Kentucky, 6 o'clock again, ESPN. Bama is a 31.5 point favorite. I hadn't seen, we'll talk about the score a little bit. We hadn't seen DeBoer really, well, we've never seen him coach at Alabama. Now, here's the question. This is a question, and y'all answer, please. Is DeBoer going to come out and just put his foot plumb down through the floorboard and just hold it wide open? I mean, hold it wide open so long that the carburetor's stuck and Bama's just a runaway train. And they come in here and score 65 points. Seriously. Is that something, you feel like, does it? I think he needs to do that. I think everybody's so curious, and there's a lot of haters and there's a lot of doubters out there about Alabama. And it's mostly Auburn fans and closet Auburn fans. They're really closet Alabama fans because they want to root, they want to cheer. Everybody wants to cheer for a winning team. And Georgia fans are hating it right now. They feel like Nick was gone. This is our league to run now, and we're going to take over. And with Kirby Smart, there's no chance that anybody else is going to run this league except Georgia. And they said he can't recruit. And people say, well, he's not winning the battle in the state in recruiting. Well, you don't have to win the battle in the state recruiting to win recruiting overall, because there's a lot of great players all over the nation. And DeBoer's proven that he can do that, and them having the number 2 recruiting class right now with 5 stars. So here's an injury report. Now, Jaden Roberts, he had I think he broke a little bone on top of his hand up here. I think they had a break up there. Everything's fine. The report says that I watched that they had spoke to his mom and that he's fine, and he's even been back to practice. I think I heard that report like Thursday or Friday or something. He's going to be fine. He's going to be at practice this week. So look forward, through the week. I'll share some stuff on the page there on Facebook, and you can know more about it. He's going to play. Jaden Roberts is a big lineman. Jeremiah Alexander is not going to be at practice. And Zay Mincy, he's had on a hand cast, and the last thing I saw about him was one day last week, like Wednesday or something. And it seems like the same kind of things happen. Trying to tackle, your hand gets under somebody, maybe slapping at the ball, maybe the ball hits him on the back of the hand. I don't know if he's broke his finger or his thumb, but he's got this cast on. And I just know this from personal thing with my son. He played it, and he broke his thumb. And these little joints here in your thumb, you can't really fix a broke thumb. I mean, it's just these little bones in your hand. Usually just want it to be still for he had to wear that for, sounded like he wore for about 2 or 3 weeks just to keep it still. And like in school, he could wear a brace, but when he played, they wanted to cover it, and he put a knee pad, on top of it, and they'd wrap it. So I think he's probably broke his a little bone in his thumb or his finger or something. They're just keeping his hand still. So that's Zay Mincy. He's a cornerback at Bama. So everything else kind of looks fine. And Jam Miller, he's in. It's no big deal. They've had 2 tough scrimmages. And from what Coach Womack and DeBoer said, Coach Shepard and company, the guys have really been getting after it. I mean, they really have. Now, as far as the game, you would assume that Bama probably goes up, 21-3 end of the first quarter, starting up into the second quarter sometime. It's 21-3 or 28-6 or something like that. Right tackle, Formby, big white kid, big strong kid. They brought him in. I think he's from Georgia. These are some guys, too, that I want to see, and y'all can write these down and keep these names in your head to see Saturday, again at 6 o'clock on ESPN, about these Bama players. Like, hey, I'm hearing Matt saying Formby, let's keep on him. Well, second team, Pritchett, playing at right tackle, and he may get to come in and play some. So I'm curious to see how they rotate Formby and Pritchett there at the right tackle position, because Pritchett's had a good summer. Had a real good summer, and he come on and he works out hard, and he's a nice guy. From what the other guys say, he's very likable, and all these linemen really get along. I've watched them practice together, and they've really worked hard through the summer. Cornerback-wise, Deshaun Jones, I'm curious about how he's going to relay in here and how he's going to take coaching from Coach Womack and their defensive back coach. He's from Wake Forest. He was a pretty good player over there. I'm not trying to beef him up. Well, he plays at Bama. You're just beefing him up because he plays with the Tides. How you doing, Matt? No, I'm just saying he's a pretty good player. I didn't come in here and say he's a 5-star stud because he plays it. I'm not saying that. But just keep your eye on Deshaun Jones, cornerback. See him to get in the rotation now. Everybody knows Malachi Moore is going to play. Keontae Saab, he played some. We've seen him. And it looked like on the last report that I had that some of the young guys, they've got 5-5-stars for in this D backfield, 5. Now, 2 or 3 of them are freshmen. These are like 18-year-old young men. Now, Macumba, that played at Central down there, he just won a state championship playing quarterback, not throwing the ball, just running Wildcat the whole game. I've never seen a guy just single-handedly. They beat Thompson. And then they got another kid that's come in from St. Quantas. So they got a kid from IMG, and this D backfield is going to be good, but I want to see Deshaun Jones. I'm curious about him. I put a little star by his name, a little asterisk there to keep on him. Up front, Overton, guy's going to play linebacker and that kind of stuff, 5-star kid. Also Latham. I want to see how these guys are going to kind of come in and relate. Now, everybody's talked about this wide receiver group. They got some guys out here that are Kendrick Law is the fastest guy on the team. Gosh, he benches 400 something, squatted 600 something. I want to see, is Kendrick Law ready to shine? This is a good game to let him go out there and at least play a full half, let him play wide open. And I want to see if Coach Shepard and Sheridan, how this is going to work with line and the receivers and the play calling, and Coach DeBoer is supposed to not going to be calling plays, he said. Are they going to bring in Law, let him come in motion, let him run some speed sweeps, bring him across there in front of Milroe, flip the ball? They could fake a flip and Milroe can take off with it. I'm really curious how they're going to use him. Now, freshman guys, receivers, Odom, and, of course, Ryan Williams, 5-star plus kid. I'm sure they're going to play. Now, Ryan, 17 years old, he's not quite 18 yet. He's supposed to be a senior in high school, took early graduation. I don't know how I feel about that, but I can't account for other kids and how mature they are and what their maturity level is. I don't know. But everybody wants to see him play. And at practice against those 5-star guys, Red Morgan, all that group, Macumba and Malachi Moore, Saab, and all those guys, they said he's had a good summer. He's really grown a lot. And Coach kind of said, I can read between the lines when coaches are giving kind of coach talk. From what I gathered, he talked about him for about 2 minutes maybe. It seemed like he's coming along, but let's just be slow because he don't know all the plays yet. And he's not supposed to, okay? But people want to see him play. He's big-time players. Mr. Alabama here in state, in the state of Alabama, high school football, 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. As a sophomore and a junior, Ryan Williams. Just go look up his highlights, and you can see for yourself what kind of player he is. He's supposed to be a senior this year playing high school football. So him and Odom and Kendrick Law, stars by their name. I want to see how they play. I want to see how they're used in this lineup. Now, lastly, and we'll move on, get off here. Yeah, it's about what we're going to do, about 30, 40 minutes. Quarterback, Jalen Milroe. Now, he threw for about 3,000 yards last year. He rushed for 500 and something yards, threw 20, 25 touchdowns, and I think he had 6 or 7 picks. So, rated out his QBR, in the 70s. He missed a lot of the over the middle short passes. So my thing is, have they got his passing time down? Where's Jalen Milroe's pass timing at? Okay. Where is it at? How's it going to work out? And with just having these few months since January, February to be able to be around Coach DeBoer and Coach Shepard, I'm curious to see how Jalen has evolved. And I think it's a big question mark, big old dot right on the bottom of that little squiggly tail question mark. I think it's a big question mark for a lot of people. He's not getting a lot of love on a lot of college lists. It's kind of shameful to know that a Heisman finalist is like 5th or 6th or 7th on some of these lists. And you got guys number 1 up there, All-American, like Carson Beck, because he threw for a lot of yards. Well, but who'd they play? And then when they did play tough competition, you want to see how they did. And he didn't do so good. I use the same criteria with Thorne at Auburn. He was great. He's had these great yards passing at 2,500. Well, that was in the Big Ten. And when he played Michigan's or Ohio State's, he'd have, 150, 160 yards passing maybe and throw a pick or two. So to be able to evaluate something, you have to have the full story. And that's how you have to cover it, and that's how I do it. And in college classes, I'm a history major by degree. And to do research, you have to find out, number one, your sources. Want to make sure they're at least not full of it, or they're very biased, and you're not reading about Alabama players on a Alabama writer's page. Go read somebody that can be kind of in the middle and give you a good opinion. So 3,000 yard passing last year, over 500 rushing. I want to see how Milroe has evolved, and can he go? What would be a good number for Milroe? Say he goes, I don't know if he'll even play the whole game. Let's say he plays 3 quarters. Okay, let's say he plays a half and they come out and maybe Bama kicks the ball away and they get the ball back on 3 and out pretty quick. 23 for 30. Is that, what does that sound like to you guys? 23 for 30 on passing, throws for, I don't know, 200 yards, maybe 180, runs for maybe 100, something like that. So 200 passing, maybe 100 rushing, he needs to throw for at least 2 touchdowns. He needs to, and maybe run 1 too. So he needs to have 2 or 3 touchdowns. So that's kind of that about Bama and some of their players. Keep an eye on these guys. Go back through it quickly. Formby, right tackle, cornerback, Deshaun Jones, the guy transferred from Wake Forest. Linebackers, Overton and Latham for defensive line guys. Want to see these guys work out. Hollywood Williams and Odom, freshman guys. And how's Kendrick Law? How are they going to use him? Guys, he's so good, man. And he just didn't get used. Tommy Reese is a pitiful excuse for offensive coach. Just pitiful. And lastly, Milroe, how's he grown this summer? Has he put in the time? Gosh, dude, I shared a video a while ago of him throwing a ball the other day. Physique-wise, he looks like a bodybuilder, man. Jalen Milroe, his back and his traps and his lats, this guy looks like a darn linebacker throwing the football. If things work out well for him and it goes the way that that a lot of people could see that it could go for Jalen, I'm not saying it is, but if it goes the way that it could, this guy may break a lot of records this year, because with that offensive guys, Shepard then behind him, and how the program has changed into their PI and how they're doing stuff with Coach Morgan. They've hired him on full time, paying him a big check, and he's kind of, the handling of the team and having a real offensive minded guy kind of running got the reins up there running the wagon, where Coach Saban was a defensive guy. And he's had some, the list of offensive coaches from Sark and Lane. And I thought even Nussmeier and them, he wasn't a bad coach. He went up to Michigan after he left Bama for a little while. So curious about those guys and some of those players for Alabama. Now, lastly, we will click off here. Western Kentucky, TJ Finley. J-Boy said in his 73-year-old TJ Finley, playing for his 15th season in college football. We know him from Auburn. He came from LSU, and he transferred over to Auburn. He just never really blossomed, and that staff and the crap that he was on, Auburn's in such a mess. I don't think they ain't developed a player. I don't know if Auburn's developed a player in the last 20 years. I don't know of any, really. If you know some, please, I'll take all the snide remarks. Tell me, because don't tell me that Cam Newton's a freak athlete. He's a generational talent. Nobody developed Cam Newton. Cam Newton was born like that. Go watch his high school tape. Go watch his JUCO stuff, man. He won a championship in JUCO, then goes to Auburn and wins one there. Those kind of guys are not really developed. They just show up on the field, and you just kind of let them know kind of which way you're wanting to go and kind of style you're going to play, and you fit it around him, what he does. So I'm just saying Finley would never really fully dressed to the T's and ready for a nice bow tie dinner and look all professional at Auburn. They just didn't use him right. He winds up at Texas State. Well, now he's at Western Kentucky. And the two games that he played against Alabama, in total, he had 260 passing minus 54 rushing. He threw for 3 touchdowns and an interception in 2 games versus Alabama. So people sending the messages that, Bama's on lookout watch for playing TJ Finley and may put Bama in their seat. I don't think so. And maybe if he does, if he can score a touchdown every quarter, that's 28. If he can do that, I don't think that's enough. I think Bama could score 50 in this game. So even if he does score 28 and he throws for 250 and rushes for 80, then he'll break his old record because he's only thrown for 260 yards the past 2 times they've played him. So I don't look for nothing insane. Keyshawn Johnson, wide receiver, 790 yards for Western Kentucky last year, 7 touchdowns. Dalvin Smith, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns last year also. And running back, Elijah Young. Now, remember that name. Guys, he was over at Missouri. Elijah Young is running the ball at Western Kentucky now. So while he was there last year. He had 3 touchdowns last year, ran for 475 yards. So if he's running for that kind of yards, then it would seem like Western Kentucky is they're pretty good up front. And they're a smaller school, but they're going to take pride in their program, and they're going to come out there and fight along and give Bama a tough game, I think, for a little while. But talent's talent, guys, and how it shines out and how it plays out on the field is just that. So as far as picking a game, come on, man. Bama by 4 touchdowns. Okay. We'll just leave it there. And hey, thanks for coming by and hanging out for Locker Room Sports Extra. And we'll be back Thursday night to talk about some high school football from around the area, a few games we got going on around here, and where I'll probably be at Friday night. And we'll talk about that game that night. We'll come on about 6. 5 Red Devils. Coach Benefield will be traveling over to Pisgah. And guys, they played a throwdown last year. A great game. And if you want more high school content, they're on right now. Go over there to the Facebook page here. If you're on Facebook, type in Average Joe Sports Talk. Starkey and Coach Beckett are on there talking right now about high school games coming up this weekend. And we appreciate it. And y'all have a great Wednesday. Hump Day is tomorrow, and Tuesday's gone with a win. So that's your Locker Room Sports Extra. Little Alabama, Western Kentucky, Miami, and Florida Gators at the Swamp. Got some good games coming on this weekend. So, hey, y'all come in there in the comment section and on the page and scores, and give me your scores and tell me what you think. And we appreciate it, man. We'll see you Thursday night about 6 o'clock. All right. Peace.